In the previous video, Dong Jaeyoung asked Mile Mang to live with her and the man accepted. How will the two of them be sharing the same house? The protagonist, shortly after she made the proposal, goes to the bathroom of her house to wash her face and regrets having made the invitation. However, when she opens the door, she changes her mind again. Mile Mang thought her apartment was too small, so she decided to bring her house inside. From the outside, it will look like the same place, but when you enter, it is much bigger. Dong Jaeyoung confesses that she asked him to live together because she thought that the moment he left, he would disappear forever. Because she is used to people who are good to her leaving her life. Changing the subject, the protagonist wants to know where her bedroom will be, as there are several in the house, and she discovers when she opens the doors that they don't lead anywhere. It's as if they reflect the room. Her brother rings the doorbell, and Dong Jaeyoung goes to the penthouse. The two talk to the aunt who raised them. After they hang up the call, Sun Jaeyoung says that when she was chasing her sister's cheating ex-boyfriend, he had divine help, and the man ended up running over. Of course, the boy at least called 911. The protagonist's brother knows that because she went out with a married man, it was because he deceived her, as she is not one to do that, and the boy feels obliged to meet this current boyfriend to find out if someone else is deceiving her. To better know his verdict on whether the current one is good or not, Sun Jaeyoung invites him to drink. However, the boy ends up drunk and, in the end, gives the two of them a blessing to date. After the protagonist's brother leaves, Mile Mang divides the houses half and half, his on one side and hers on the other. To keep an eye on his new roommate, Dong Jaeyoung will sleep on the living room couch. The next day, when she is thinking about the terms of the contract she signed, the protagonist realizes that the person she loves will lose his life anyway, whether it will be because Dong Jaeyoung breaks the contract or because he wishes for the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the boy that the protagonist's writer friend had a crush on when she was younger was called to attend a meeting, with the members of her school days and her friends telling him that Na Ji Na would appear too. The writer uses his name as her pseudonym. Returning to the protagonist, she is at the funeral with a writer who is her client to give her support and talk about some of her work. As she is leaving, a girl bumps into her, and she remembers where she knew Mile Mang. When her parents passed away, the man cried desperately at someone's coffin, something he said he never did. Dong Jaeyoung is at the bus stop when a girl sits next to her, the same one she had bumped into and who is Mile Mang's friend. God, she asks which one she should take to get to her destination. Soon after, Mile Mang appears, and when the protagonist says that she had already seen him before, the man gets angry, telling them to talk at home. When the two are in the apartment, the man tells her to quit her job and enjoy the last few days of her life. However, Dong Jaeyoung doesn't want to spend his order with money and needs to work to pay the bills. For a moment, she begins to think that he is in love with her with so much concern he has been showing, but Mile Mang denies it. When she asked who had died that day, he was crying, and when she saw him for the first time, she discovered that she was the man's mother. The next day, Mile Mang pretends to be the protagonist's boss at work, and to deal with this, Dong Jaeyoung asks Mr. Cha to go to his place to meet Na Ji Na. However, the man doesn't know who he really is because he only knows her by her pseudonym. In the cafe, when they start the meeting, the two remember the past in which they were involved, and at that moment, Mr. Cha realizes that she is inspired by her old love to create her male characters, who happen to be Mr. Cha's childhood friend. Mile Mang decides to go after her friend Deus when she realizes that it was she who made the protagonist remember where she knew him, and she warns him that her feelings for Dong Jaeyoung will increase more and more. The man decides not to take it easy on the protagonist, and when they meet again, he makes her feel so much pain in her head that she spends her desire asking to stop, but she doesn't do that. Mile Mang, in the end, eases Dong Jaeyoung's pain and says that she will make her cry because of her and want to end the world to take her life. However, when the woman hears this, she decides to end everything at that moment and throw herself off the roof. However, the man she said didn't care held her back. The protagonist says that she knew he would save her again and that her plan is to try to love him so she wouldn't lose anyone. Because he was the person she would love most, she would still survive, and the world wouldn't end. Since the two will follow this line of reasoning, Mile Mang created a room in her house with a bed for them to share at night, in case Dong Jiang sleeps and he watches her. The next day, the protagonist does some research on how to fall in love, but nothing she finds seems to be good enough. So she turns to her writer friend. The two remember the first date they had. Na Jina was looking for drinks, and Dong Jiang had some in her backpack, so the protagonist sold them to the girl who climbed the wall. After the drink took effect, Na Jina declared herself to her lover in front of everyone. Her friend's advice for Dong Jiang to fall in love is to dream about Mile Mang, so meeting him in her dreams will happen. The writer tells her a little gossip. Mr. Cha is the man she gave her first kiss, but don't confuse it with the man she was in love with. Later, we see Mr. Cha at his house with his childhood friend, the one the writer loved. The man will lend him his car so he can go meet the class with the vehicle. The protagonist tells Mile Mang to enter her dreams at night, so she will try to follow the tips she received from her friend and from what she read on the internet. However, none of the attempts made so far have worked. Dong Jiang decides to try something different and asks his partner to tell him more about himself and show him his world. And as Mile Mang walks through the world, he is showing the protagonist that things start to lose life, so she understands why he avoids falling in love or having any connection. Everything in the end leads to the same place due to his own existence and fault. The next day, Dong Jiang tells Mile Mang that he forgives him for leaving his dreams suddenly and not letting her get closer, which makes the man very angry. Sun Jiang shows up at her sister's house, asking to borrow money, something that is very recurrent in their relationship, and this time she says it's for a course. However, she is worn out from all the courses the boy started and didn't go through with it. The two end up arguing because she was unable to develop some dreams to achieve because she was always working to support her little brother's dreams. The conversation doesn't end well, as Sun Jiang says that she would rather die than live like the protagonist. Mile Mang appears shortly after the fight and says that he could end the ungrateful man's life whenever he wanted, then questions whether Dong Jiang would forgive him for that since he is distributing kindnesses. The man begins to use his words more and more heavily, and in the end, the protagonist says that she doesn't want him alive, so he takes her to a forest and gives her a gun, saying that if it's your wish, just make it come true. Of course, the woman doesn't do anything. Later at home, Dong Jiang cries when she is alone and then gets a call from the hospital. Her brother is there. Mile Mang goes to the trial of the man he didn't let take his own life in prison, and he is charged with life in prison. However, the man wanted the sentence that would end his life. When the protagonist arrives where her brother is, she hears him saying that she is going to give the money like this, and she must be very scared. The woman immediately gets upset and leaves the hospital. Dong Jiang's doctor decides to stop his brother, who was trying to go after the protagonist, and tells him about his sister's situation. Dong Jiang meets Mile Mang in front of the hospital, and at that moment, that man, who was sent to prison again, is in the ambulance, passing by the two for having hit his head in one of his outbursts. However, the man is awake and is willing to try to take Mile Mang's life. However, when he manages to get out of the vehicle and is heading towards Mile Mang with something to cut him, the protagonist puts her body in front of her beloved to protect him. Mile Mang holds the sharp object with his hand and then makes the man end his own life. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me. Until next time.